Z Fold 5 is now available to pre-order. Should you buy one? Well, we're going to talk about it. And I have here the Z Fold 4, which is basically the same phone, except there are a couple new things that we're going to talk about. So the battery, the same. The memory, the same. The storage, basically the same. Cameras, the same. You get the picture. They changed a few things. So the screen is now brighter on the inside. So the interior screen went from like 1200 something nits brightness up to like 1750 now, which is on par with the S23 series phones. That's pretty nice because if you use it outside, you want it to be nice and bright. They also changed the way the hinge mechanism works. So basically the way the hinge works now, see when you have this phone, you can't see it because of the case. The case kind of covers it, but there's a gap in here where like dust and dirt and things can get in, and that's kind of how things have been for the last few years, but now it actually seats flush. So that's nice, not really revolutionary, but really the big things that you need to know about this new phone are it has a brighter screen on the inside, it has the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, which of course is great. I'm a big fan of the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. This has the 8 Plus Generation 1, which is a good upgrade over last year's 8 Gen 1 that had problems. So I'm expecting there to be some small improvements, but not as big of improvements as we had from the 8 Gen 1 to the 8 Gen 2. And it's kind of weird we don't have the 8 Plus Generation 2, but I believe that's because basically the chip manufacturers that make smartphone chips and memory chips and things like that are taking it in the shorts right now because demand's slumped so much that they're losing tons of money, so it didn't really make a lot of sense. So they basically are just holding on to the same chip and using it in the same phones. It's not something really you see often with the Samsung phones. There's always the, like let's say last year the 8 Gen 1 came out at the beginning of the year, and then in the fall the 8 Plus Generation 1. So that's how it's worked with Samsung phones for years. So it's kind of interesting this one has the exact same processor. So thankfully the price has stayed the same, at least in the US. And if you're interested in buying one, I've got a link in the description that you can use. You can take it straight to Samsung's website, and they're giving up to $1,000 trade-in credit for the Z Fold 4, the S23 Ultra, and even the S22 Ultra, which really surprised me, and giving a free double the storage upgrade. Plus, you get the exclusive colors and up to 30% off if you want to get Samsung Care Plus. So, link in the description for that. So, should you buy one? Well, if you got a Z Fold 4, I basically recommend nobody buys it. That's just me. Now, of course, I'm buying it because I'm going to review it, and I'm a tech addict. So if you're a tech addict and you can afford it, then go for it, right? Whatever makes you happy, YOLO. You only live once. But if you're on the fence, if you're very frugal, there's no need in this year-over-year upgrade. Same camera, same battery, basically the same screen, same features, no new features. Basically, they shaved 10 grams off of the weight, which, yay. And then they have a new case that has a slim S Pen that kind of embeds in the back instead of sticking onto the back like this, which, I mean, I'm totally fine with this. It's not that big of a deal. The only frustration I have with this is you have to take it off to be able to use wireless charging, which I don't even use that much with these phones, but 25 watts max charging, 44 milliamp battery, 4400 milliamp battery, the exact same cameras. They added some nightography features. So this is something you've heard with this phone, the S23 Ultra, because it's something they pioneered with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, the new cameras. It has an emphasis on low light, better, more natural skin tones, more natural environments, less noise, and things like that. So nightography has been added. There's more multitasking. It's using Android 13. So yeah, same price, mostly the same features. I'm still irritated that you cannot use the S Pen on the front screen. Yes, I know that it's not really for multitasking on the front screen, but it would be nice because when I have the S Pen out, I'd just like to keep using it, right? Plus, when you have that nice fine point of the S Pen, I think it would naturally work pretty well on the front screen. So my whole thought process on this, Samsung is kind of like Apple now. So as you've probably noticed, the form factor hasn't really changed in basically like what, 4 years? Z Fold 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the 4th generation of the phone looking almost exactly the same. So that's a little frustrating, because they basically pushed the envelope and they've been sitting back resting on their laurels for the last couple of years and really not changing much. I mean, is it really worth $17.99 year over year for a just slightly better processor, a slightly brighter screen, and a slightly less gap in between the screen when it closes? I think not. So I want to point that out. But at the same time, I do want to talk about the finer points because I love the Z Fold 4. And if you want to get the Z Fold 5, I really think it's for somebody, if you've got the Z Fold 1, the 2, or the 3, 3 is kind of fringe. Definitely 4 don't upgrade. But if you got the Z Fold original or the 2, then definitely yes, it would be a considerable upgrade because you've got all the latest updates on 5G modem, you've got better speed, you've got better coverage, you've got better Wi-Fi, you've got better battery life, you've got better standby time, less heat, better performance, better cameras. So there's a lot there. If you've never got a foldable phone in your life, and you're like, I am finally, 5 years is it. Samsung's been making foldable phones for 5 years. Gosh darn it, I'm going to go buy one. Then I think you'll probably love it. Now, there is different schools of thought because, of course, we have the front screen kind of narrow. It's not a very wide screen. It's very tall. A lot of people don't like that. And then you can look at something else, which we now have available. Ta-da! We have the Pixel Fold, which has a much wider screen, but it's shorter, and this is very, very usable. Now, when you compare both of them, there's a lot of differences, right? And I'll get into that in another video. But primarily I wanted to talk about this because you can pre-order the Z Fold 5 now, right? So if you can pre-order it, you want to take advantage of the deals and you want to get the double the storage. Instead of 256, you get 512. You can even buy a 1 terabyte model if you want, which is nice if you need that much storage. But overall, I've been a big fan of the Z Fold 4. So if you've got one, probably hold on to it. I think it'll be good for another year. Maybe they'll come back, reimagine things with the Z Fold 6, and it might be more worthwhile. I don't really like to talk about year-over-year upgrades with these because they don't make sense. Why would you spend $17.99 and then the next year for a very incremental upgrade do another $17.99? Now, granted, they're giving $1,000 of trade-in credit. That's great. I'm glad they have $1,000 trade-in credit. I'm glad to see Samsung doing some good things that Samsung typically does with trade-in values. Take a look at the Z Flip 5. You can trade in the Z Flip 4 and get, what is it, $900? You only have to pay basically $99 for the Z Flip 5, and if you did the reserve your pre-order like I've been harping on for the last month, you basically had to pay $50. That's what I paid. That was a fantastic deal. Heck yes, I will upgrade my Z Flip 4 to the Z Flip 5 for $50. And now you've got that nicer screen on the front. I really feel like they're doing a little bit more pioneering with the Z Flip 4 than they are with the Z Fold. Sorry, I think they're doing more pioneering with the Z Flip 5 than the Z Fold 5, but on the same vein, these are expensive phones, and it's the same cameras, the same, like, so much stuff is the same. It really just doesn't justify the cost if you've got a Z Fold 4 already, and then the Z Fold 3, if it's working well for you, you could probably even hold out on that for another year. But there's a lot of trade-in opportunities if you're interested in getting one. Of course, I've got links in the description, and I don't want to discourage anybody that wants one from buying one. I just want to give you the facts. I want to give you the information. It's just like iPhone. We're supposedly going to get USB-C this year and a bezel-less screen, and that's going to be the innovation. I mean, this last year, they used last year's chips for the iPhone 14 series. The 14 and the 14 Plus have last year's 13 and Pro series chips in it. So there's a whole lot of this going on in the industry. We've really reached so many peaks in smartphones. Like, you don't necessarily have to have maybe a brand new chip, but if you don't need a brand new chip, then why do they charge such high prices, right? I would kind of expect maybe at some point they keep reusing the same tools, the same technology, not really changing much, but still keep charging $17.99. Like, I don't really get that. So I do have some frustrations with it. I do think that they're being lazy. I mean, 4 years of the exact same design. I hammer on iPhone for this. I'm going to hammer on Samsung for this. And it's really not something that I can get jiggy with. Like, it kind of frustrates me that it costs so much and they are doing so little year over year to make any sort of meaningful changes. Now, if you haven't bought one, it's great. That's great for you. It's great for new buyers. It's great for, the market as a status quo. But if you take a look at the Z Fold 3, Z Fold 4, what's really changed? Basically nothing. So just slight improvements here and there, and quite honestly, that's not something you should be upgrading year over year. And I really don't want to encourage that behavior. And I really want Samsung to, I want them to do some meaningful changes, right? Like, change something up. Like, okay, brightness. Whoo, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It was already pretty bright for me. I never once had a complaint about the screen, but I'm sure I'll enjoy the new brightness on the screen. I will enjoy the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. Fantastic chip. Probably just about the best Snapdragon chip that's ever been made, and it's going to give you better battery life, better standby time, better performance, better gaming, better photos, and by better, we're talking incremental. It's not going to be anything that's life-changing, but, so yeah, if you want to get a Z Fold 5, it's your first time buying one, you haven't had a foldable in a couple years, go for it. You're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. If you've got a Z Fold 4, wait and see what happens with the Z Fold 6. Like, I really hope that maybe with some driving competition, we've got the OnePlus foldable coming out soon. We've got the Pixel Fold that's out now. Like, Samsung can't just keep sitting around doing the same thing. They got to find ways to keep their customers interested and happy and invested in their products. So that doesn't really seem to be this year, but we'll see what next year holds for us. And of course, I am getting this one. I make YouTube videos. I cover these things. I review them. I will test it out and tell you all the great new things about it, other than just the stuff that's changed on paper, which is very little, like very, very little. But anyway, if you are on the fence or if you want to buy one, link in the description. Otherwise, hold off, watch some more videos. You've got some time. It's not coming out until August the 11th. So that's when you need to make a decision if you want to get the trade-in deals and you want to get the pre-order stuff that they've got going on, because the storage thing is a pretty big deal, plus the new colors too. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please go to the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, if you found this helpful, please of course hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.